Roth. I'm the owner of Inspire Pelvic Physical Therapy in Saginaw, Michigan, and owner of Roth Consulting Group. I am so excited to come on here today and get to know you and chat a little bit more about my story. I am passionate about helping pelvic PTs, OTs, and OT and PTAs start, grow, and scale their cash practice. So let's get into it. I started in the physical therapy world in 2020. So I guess you could say, a new grad. And it was a lot different than I expected it to be. In PT school, you learn about treating patients. It's all about how to get patients better. But then in reality, when you get out there, you tend to realize that it's all an insurance game. If you are working for a clinic that bills insurance, your hands are really tied on what you can do, how many treatments you can do with patients, and you start to lose focus on what's ultimately at the core, which is getting the patient better, because your focus has to be so split with trying to meet billing requirements and trying to do things so that you can keep the business you're working for in business. So being in an insurance model, when I first started and I was working, it really burned me out. And quickly, I was sick of double booking patients, putting patients on the bike when they actually didn't need the bike, but I needed the patient to go on the bike so I could overlap them. And it just was really hard because it really took the focus away from patient care. That started a trajectory of me looking into how can I make this happen again and really put the patient at the center. Around the same time I was starting to get burned out, I had gotten pregnant and started to develop an interest in pelvic floor physical therapy. Up until then, I was doing mostly ortho, and I enjoyed it other than the insurance aspect. But the pregnancy and postpartum period really got me interested in this field. And I initially thought pelvic floor therapy would be kind of boring. Like, what do you actually do? Do you just sit in a dark room and do Kegels with patients for an hour, or do internal work, or what exactly is it? And it seems a little weird. That was my initial thought on it. Come to find out, after doing a Herman and Wallace course and some podcasts and webinars and everything I could put my hands onto with the pelvic health field, I realized how exciting and interesting pelvic health is. And I developed a passion for this field of physical therapy. The reason I'm so passionate about pelvic health is I have a background in playing sports. I love athletics. I played college volleyball, and pelvic health is a field where I really feel we can get functional with patients, even more so sometimes than ortho physical therapy. In pelvic health, you can get creative and really progressively overload the pelvic floor so that patients never have leakage or prolapse or symptoms again. So I was having so much fun treating pelvic health, just taking patients and having them lift heavy weights. How can we challenge the pelvic floor enough so that their leakage goes away, or taking them out and having them run and adjusting their running form or their form, playing the sport that they love. And how can we look at their form, not only from my sports background, how's it going to be the most effective form for their sport, but also from a pelvic floor standpoint, how can we make the pelvic floor the most efficient and help them not leak or have prolapse or issues with their pelvic floor. So that's kind of my interest in pelvic health and how I really fell in love with it. Another thing I love about the pelvic floor is that it has such potential for healing. In ortho, and maybe I just stunk at ortho, I don't know, but we'd have patients come in, 30 years knee pain. They wanted it to go away, bone on bone arthritis, and yeah, they would get better. But in pelvic health, man, patients can get completely better and pretty quickly too. So that is why I love pelvic health. So again, I'm relatively new to pelvic health and had my son, really started to fall in love with pelvic health. I wasn't really doing pelvic at my current job. I saw maybe 10 pelvic health patients, and then I was thrust into starting my cash pelvic health practice through a series of difficult, very sad, and stressful life events that I don't feel comfortable talking about on this podcast. But if you work with me on a one-on-one capacity, you will definitely hear my story. Having those difficult experiences, I hit rock bottom where I didn't know what I was going to do. I was thrust into starting this practice that I wasn't sure if it was going to work. I didn't know if in my area there was a market for it. There weren't any other cash practices in my area when I started, other than, a couple PTs doing a few things on the side, some mobile, or just people treating some friends. And I just had to go for it. And I had to go all out in order to support my family and keep us afloat. I had a baby at home and I was like, my goodness, I just have to make this work so I can support my family. So initially I had no patients. It was very stressful. It was about 3 months before I had my first patient. And those times when it was crickets, I was like, oh my word. During this time, I was working on getting my practice going. I always thought of my motivation, which is my baby. Whenever I was scared to go into doctor's offices and give them my brochure, which is very outside of my comfort zone, whenever I had to do workshops, which scared me so much because I do not like public speaking, I just thought of my son and just thought, I need to do this. I have to. There's no choice. I need to will myself to win. And I really believe that when your back's against the wall, you will do what it takes. And as a mom, when your son needs you, you do whatever you need to do. So I went all out. About 3 months in of lots of marketing, I finally had my first patient. And she was a friend from church. She just wanted some dry needling, not even pelvic health. And I was like, okay, this is good. I got my feet wet, got a little action in the clinic, and she wrote a Google review. And after that, things just snowballed. Another big issue I was dealing with at the time was imposter syndrome. As you can guess, doing 10 pelvic floor exams and then opening a pelvic floor specialty clinic is a little scary. To tell people you're the expert and to not actually know if you can get these people better. My first patient was just a typical stress incontinence case, and I took her on and instilled confidence in her that I could get her better. But I also was like, I don't know. I've actually never treated this before. I don't know if I could get you better. In theory, I know what to do from all my training, but I've never actually done it before. So she got better, and I learned as I went. If there was a case I had never heard of, I was all over researching learning, soaking up every free pelvic health resource I could and taking courses and learning as fast as I can. With this imposter syndrome, it made me think of that song by Matthew West, and it's, if not us, then who? If not me and you, right now it's time for us to do something. Yeah. If not now, then when? And in my area, there aren't a lot of pelvic health providers. There's a couple insurance clinics, and there's such a need. It's really sad. So I knew that me going all out and doing my best, and with the courses I had taken, me doing my best was better than this person not getting help at all. So I kept telling myself that over and over again. I still tell myself that. Okay, I'm the greatest good this person's ever going to get, basically. Like, I had to pump myself up a little bit because some of these cases, even now, a new case will come in that we haven't ever had before, and we do our absolute best. And it's crazy. The patients get great results. They're getting better, sometimes by an act of God, it feels like, but they get better. And us doing our best is so much better than this person not getting the help. There's such a demand for pelvic health that we need to do this for our patients. We can't wait until we're 20 years in and have 20 years of experience. There's going to be thousands of people that don't get help if you delay doing this. So that's one of my battle cries. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the beginning of my story. I couldn't get into too many details, but I was thrust into opening my practice and had some major imposter syndrome, but things started to roll. And now our business is thriving. We are helping lots and lots of people with their pelvic health issues, and we have multiple therapists on staff. We are gearing up to open a second location. So the reason I wanted to start Roth Consulting Group is to help other PTs and OTs grow their practice. I know there are some other coaching companies out there, and they've got awesome content. And I've just realized, at least in my area, some of the traditional methods for getting patients and for growing a practice just didn't work for me. The whole workshop thing. Yeah, we do some workshops to get our name out there, but man, I cannot live in that workshop grind. So we have found some other ways, particularly using social media is our biggest one. All of our marketing stems initially from social media, whether it's us messaging a doctor on social media or using paid or unpaid ads to market to patients and to continue relationships with patients. So I really feel that there's a lack of education on this way to grow your practice, and a lot of the traditional ways of trying to get doctor referrals, workshops, they're awesome. We do it, but there's some new ways that we're finding out, and it's really exciting, and I really want to share it with you guys. So my goal is to help you reach your goal, whether that is to be a solopreneur and really thinking inside yourself. Do you want to be a solopreneur because you don't think you can get enough patients to grow? If that's the case, there are ways to grow if you want to do that. My situation, I enjoy it. I don't treat a ton of patients, even though I enjoy pelvic health, but I know I can help more people if I'm actually not seeing patients back to back all week. But I have some amazing pelvic health professionals that I've trained, and that frees me up to grow my practice, to help grow your practice, and also it gives me time freedom with my family. One of my main objectives with Roth Consulting Group is to help each business as an individual. I think some of these strategies that work well for a certain business do not work well for another business. And I think some of it is location based. I have a friend in San Antonio, Texas, and around her, it's all cash practices. Like, that's the norm. People are used to that. People are more than willing to pay. In my area, I'm in Michigan. I have a friend that has a practice in Ohio, a couple friends in Ohio. It's kind of the same thing. Cash pay is very abnormal and very insurance driven area of the country. So we have to get a little creative, I think, in some of these areas. The East Coast, it's a little more saturated with cash pay, pretty common in these bigger cities, and it's exciting to see it growing, but different places call for different strategies to grow the business. And I think every business is unique. Every person that owns a business is unique, and what resonates with someone to help grow their practice might not resonate with someone else. I want to help people as individuals and what their goals are, and also get creative with some of these new strategies that I have found work really well that I don't think many other people in the pelvic health space are talking about. So I praise God for the struggle and the hardship that I went through that thrust me into opening my practice, that gave me the driving force and motivation to grow my practice as quickly as I could so that I can help more people in my area. And not only that, but my other objective and goal is to create an awesome job for the PTs and OTs I have on staff, and our administrative assistants and marketing. I am passionate about creating amazing jobs for them and empowering my employees to make decisions, but also creating mentorship opportunities when they get stuck. Thank you for tuning in to this first episode of our podcast. And in the upcoming episodes, we're going to talk about some different ways to grow your practice through different marketing strategies, sales strategies, patient care strategies, and how to lead a team. All those different business type topics is my passion and jam. And the ultimate reason being, the more efficient, the better our businesses are, the more people we can help, and the better we can help change people's lives. I named my pelvic health practice Inspire, and my goal is to inspire our patients to, once they achieve their pelvic health goals, then go on to feel inspired to achieve all of their life goals. I also want my employees to feel inspired. I want them to feel empowered to make their own decisions, but also feel like they have mentorship, and at the same time feel inspired to live their best life as well when they feel motivated and excited in the workplace. I hope this podcast inspires you to start your practice if you haven't already, knowing if you've done 10 pelvic floor exams, you're good. You can start your practice. So that's where I was at, and it all worked out great. If you are in your practice and you're struggling, just know that the current strategies you're using, maybe they're not working for you. And we got to get a little unique here and creative and figure out a strategy that works for you so that you can meet your goals. And I would love to help people scale their practice as well, because we know that when you scale and you have employees, you can chill. You can chill at home. You can hang out with your baby. You can take your baby to swim lessons or gymnastics. That's what my 2-year-old likes to do. And have time freedom with family, friends, to travel, whatever you're passionate about, and help even more people, which is crazy. Roth Consulting Group is a partnership with me, Maddy Roth, and my husband, Zachary Roth. My husband is a CPA. He's in the finance field, and he'll be coming on for a couple episodes to chat about how to maximize your profitability and all the tax stuff. I don't even know what he does, but we will all learn. So hope you guys have an amazing day. Stay tuned for our next episode.